comes a new challenger!
How's it going, guys? Alex from Challenger TCG here, and today I'm going to be going over the Rek'sai deck profile. Rek'sai is a tempo deck in every sense of the word, and I've seen people refer to it as a Rek'sai control deck or a Rek'sai aggro deck, but true tempo is kind of a mixture of both. And when we talk about tempo, what I kind of mean is developing units and putting pressure on your opponent while also being able to remove theirs for equal to or cheaper than what they paid for it. So, for example, what we are looking to do is develop units and then use our powerful removal to set our opponents back so that they are unable to either reconquer battlefields or are not able to score at all because they're unable to stick units, or they're spending their entire turns trying to develop while we are still scoring. And so a great example of this is, for example, using Cull the Weak to kill, say, a Draven Chosen Champion. Cull the Weak cost me 2, Draven Chosen Champion cost them 4, so in addition to going 1-for-1 on card advantage, I've also gone +2 on energy advantage because they spent 4 and I only spent 2 to kill it. And that's kind of the general idea of tempo. This deck is fairly simple. It is still very aggressive. In our opening hands, we're looking for a good mix of removal and then early creatures. Going second, typically we can be a little bit more aggressive with our moles. We'll typically want to mole our 2-drop units out of our hand going second because we always have the Rek'sai Chosen Champ to fall back on. That being said, in some of the matchups, you will want to still play a 2-drop on turn 1 if you draw into one. And that's because the Rek'sai Chosen Champion does have Natural Accelerate, and in some of these matchups you want as many Natural Accelerators as possible. Examples of this are Victor Control or Kaisa Control, where we'd rather be just developing a raw creature turn 1 most of the time than having to use our Rek'sai. Still, we do want to try to find these Phoenixes and these removals. The Sun Disk is a very important card in that matchup, so this gives you an idea of some of the mulligan patterns. Talking about the openers, we are looking for removal, like I said, a unit, a Sun Disk, the Phoenix. These are typically the 4 main things we're looking for. Sun Disk is going to be some more important in some matchups rather than others. Particularly in the control matchups, the Sun Disk is huge because what it allows you to do is instead of just throwing all your units on the board and hoping they stick to score, you can keep some number of them in hand, put some number on the board, so when they tap out to remove your units that are on the board, you can then play what's in your hand and actually score and trigger Rek'sai and keep generating advantage this way. And that's kind of where the Rek'sai leader is so helpful. Order Fury is a very good domain combination. However, its previous legend, Darius, lacked card draw, and Rek'sai kind of compensates for that with both the legend ability and the signature spell, so it enables us to keep this tempo going while still maintaining card advantage of our own. And the deck has access to an array of some of the game's most powerful spells: Cull the Weak, Piercing Light, Falling Star. All of these are incredibly important to what the deck is trying to do, especially since one of our main cards in the deck is the Immortal Phoenix. We're kind of think of the Immortal Phoenix as a reoccurring removal spell. It is a 5 damage removal spell that you recur with your other removal spells. I think that's like probably one of the simplest ways to look at it. Don't always look at it as like, oh, it's a creature to score. It is a creature to score, but a lot of the times it functions as a throwaway removal spell. Just think of it as like one of the easiest creatures to dispose of in your deck because of its ability to keep coming back. And then, of course, we do have a little bit of top end. We've got the Ferris Forerunners in here. Funny enough, Ferris Forerunners' main function is to fight other Ferris Forerunners. This deck is actually weakest to Ferris Forerunner. It's probably the single strongest card against Rek'sai because it is so hard to remove and it's so sticky on the board, and it requires us to use multiple removal to actually get rid of it. So the best thing actually in our domain combination to deal with a Ferris Forerunner is our own Ferris Forerunner. Now, that being said, one of Ferris Forerunner's biggest flaws right now is that it is incredibly weak to Rebuke. So against Draven, you do need to be careful about when you are playing it and attacking with it. And then you'll notice one of Under Titan. The Under Titan, funny enough, is just there because I needed a board buffer. I needed a way at the end of the game, like if I'm playing against a deck like Miracles or some sort of hold deck that just stacks up a lot of might on the battlefield, I needed a way to be able to buff my whole board to try to break these battlefields. And for that reason, I kept the Under Titan in. This could have very easily been Grand Stratagem. However, I went with the Under Titan because I am using an 8 and 4 rune split with only 4 order runes, so it does sometimes make having the 3 order required for the stratagem a little bit tricky. As for the sideboard, it's pretty standard, nothing too crazy here. I had Darius in the side. That's in place of Blood Rush. I opted to main the Blood Rushes because I felt that they were a cheaper, more efficient option. One of Rek'Sai's biggest weaknesses, outside of course, the Ferris Forerunner, is that it doesn't deal with high might battlefields very well. And I thought Blood Rush was the cheapest, most efficient way to deal with these battlefields, a little bit more so than Darius. However, you could very easily put Darius in the main board over the Blood Rush and put the Blood Rushes back in the sideboard if you were so inclined. We have 2 salvages. These are better against just decks that play a little bit of heavy costed gears like Aurora, any of the weapons decks like Fiora and Lucian. It's pretty good against. Even against Azir, it's all right. We do have 1 Thermo Beam, and this might seem interesting because we do play so many gears ourselves, but there's some decks that just absolutely fold to this. Azir being one of them. They just stack all these weapons on board. It's very good against Lucian when they're trying to assemble the combo against you. It can be good against Fiora, especially if they're playing Baited Hook. Sometimes it even has its niche upsides versus the Miracle decks, where if you know you have this in your hand and you're going to cast it, you actually hold your seals and don't use your seals, and then you play the seals afterwards. Or the Sun Disc, for example, you hold the Sun Disc and play it afterwards. So this could even maybe go to 2 if you thought you were going to see more of these types of decks. Aurelia, it's also good against Aurelia, so I have opted to run just 1 of these. And then finally, we have Brynhir Thundersong. This is a format staple. It's very good against any of these reaction-type decks. It's great for trying to seal the game. If you felt so inclined, these could be in the main. 2 of these could be in the main over the Ferris Forerunner. I opted for the Ferris Forerunner because, again, I feel like I needed something to beat their Ferris Forerunner, so I'm hedging a little bit more for that, but this could very easily be the Brynhir. It's great against any Protect the King style decks like Aurelia or Ornn, but it's also very good against standard Draven as they try to hold for game. If you can ever assemble all 12 runes, you can even play this and then play Grand Stratagem, and you are almost certain to win the game. I would hope, at least. So yeah, there are a lot of great uses with Brynhir, but it is just a format staple. So we do have that in there. And the side is you could move this side around. I don't feel strongly about anything except maybe the salvages and the Thermo Beams and at least 2 Brynhirs, but you don't need the 3rd Brynhir. You could play around with the Dariuses, like I said. There are some options there. And I do talk a lot more in depth about this in my guide, which you can find now on our Metafy. This is a super in-depth Rek'Sai guide. It covers matchups, which I'm still updating. It covers all these different rulings interactions. It covers what I call the golden rules of the deck, which are just good rules points to remember how to play the deck. Some examples are this deck plays mostly even-costed cards, so you want to be spending power most often on your odd turns. Because this deck doesn't spend mana on odd turns super efficiently, you're trying to tap out mostly because there's almost no action speed cards in the entire 48 card list. So stuff like this, tips, tricks, advice, matchups, there's 4 hours of odds on each of the matchups. And like I said, I'm going to keep updating this. I'm going to add more, maybe even play around with the build a little bit more. But this list and everything is in there. And as things change, I'll update it there as well. And again, you can check that out on our Metafy at Challenger TCG. Next up, we're going to transition into some gameplay. This is a match that I had played versus Draven.
Challenger TCG is now powered by TopDeck.gg. TopDeck.gg is the tournament software you want to be using when hosting any tournament. It has instant pairings, a robust mobile app, integrated payments, and an easy-to-use interface, all for just $12 a month. You can get a free 14-day trial right now if you want to try out the software, and use promo code CHALLENGER for an additional month free of charge. If you decide you want to keep the software, use promo code CHALLENGER25 for a 25% discount off your yearly subscription plan.
Okay, so we are going to be playing a game against Draven here. We're on the play, so we always start with the Zon Warrens, regardless of whether or not we're going first. We always choose this game 1, doesn't matter what we're playing against. This is just our best battlefield. It has our highest win rate. This is a pretty good opener. We're on the play. This is almost a full keep. I'm going to ship this here because the only reason I'm shipping this here is because I do want like either a seal or another piece of removal. But we have most of the stuff we want. We have the Phoenix. We typically want to keep that, especially game one when we have those on Warren so we can pitch it. We have a piece of removal. We have our turn one play. This is one of the worst ones versus Draven because they do get to come in over the top versus it, but that's still fine. This is a pretty solid hand, so we're going to get our 2. Draw a card. Okay, this is a slightly better one. Yeah, we're going to do this just because it's one that he can't actually kill. He has to trade with it, which is something we prefer here. We'd much rather he be trading with this than getting his free draw. The bird he just gets to trade over. And this is pretty solid, actually. We have nothing to play before doing this. We're always going to do our loot first in case we, just as a rule of thumb, in case we find a removal that would want to bring the Phoenix back. We probably don't ever do it here, but it's just a good habit to be in. Ooh, that's a good one. Oh, and we did find the Under Titan here. So this is interesting. So we are going to generate our 2. So we do have 6 here. The question is, how do we spend our 6? Fortunately, the guns don't do a whole lot for us here. They're actually quite bad. But our 2, we would love to have these guns in hand as well. But our 2 is actually pretty good here. So what we're going to do is we're going to send these all to the bottom. What this lets us do now is we don't like to spend power on even turns. However, this is so strong right here that we're actually going to do it. We get to double score turn 2, and there's very little risk to us because we're on the Reaver's Row because this is a 2. So we're going to spend, what is it? We're going to spend like this. We use the 2 floating, then we play this, so we get to develop another unit. We get to camp the Rek'sai behind the Reaver's Row, and there's not much he can do to come over the top of it this turn, so best he could do here is play an Axe over it, but we're okay with that because we'll just retreat. If he comes into us, we'll probably just retreat. He does want the trade. Yep, and this is perfect. Everything is going as well as it could for us. Oh, that's even good, too. So unfortunately, we did brick here. So what we would want to do here is be able to bring our Phoenix back. Sadly enough, we actually bricked on a red. We only have 2 red with the gold, so enough to play this and nothing else, which is pretty rough here. We do play a 4-8 split, so to see this is like... to see this is actually pretty heinous. But we are gonna capture first, since we're doing our RNGs first, our draws and our Rek'sai triggers to see if there's something better we could find. And that's what we're gonna look for here. So we're going to do this. We don't have a Phoenix to discard, so we're going to perform our loot first. We'll get the hold, we'll get the conquer. We will see what we can find. Okay, seal's pretty solid here. I think we are going to play the seal, since the rest of our turn is probably going to be a bird plus a star. So yeah, we'll play the seal, try to get that online. Typically, we use the gold for this. There's no reason not to. Sometimes we might hold the gold if we had a lack of yellow and just spend, if we had a surplus of red, we would hold the gold, but obviously we have no shortage of red here. This is pretty sad, though, because we did have a perfect turn. We did have a perfect turn if we could have spent this. We're going to retreat this Rek'sai, too, because we want to be able to reconquer this battlefield next turn, so you're not a hold deck, you're not trying to hold. We also just, like, if he has, like, a Darius next turn or a Kaisa Accelerate, we're just giving him a free draw. There's no reason to do that. So we are just going to pull it back so we can reconquer. We are, in fact, going to play the Falling Star. Yeah, it would have been great to play the Phoenix here, but you know it's fine. This looks great so far. So the scariest thing he can do here is Ferris Forerunner, but the tempo is so much in our favor right now that it's not even the end of the world. And he's going to make the Darius here. We can live with that because we have 2 guys in the back. The question is where he's going to move here, because it is a bit risky to... he can run over our guy. That's pretty free. Yep, and he's got the X too, so he's going to come in. It is a little risky to move to the Zon Warrens in case I have some sort of buff, whereas the Reaver's Row is a little safer, but he, of course, wants to draw. It is an 8-2, which is kind of sketchy. It's kind of scary for us, so... Oh, that was like the best draw. So if we hadn't seen that, it probably would have been something like what our sequence would have been would be scout here, whatever we get off the top, accelerate with the Rek'sai, and then Rek'sai and do a trade, and then send the next thing that we accelerate in off of. But now it's just like as clean as can be. So we're going to start with this, get our Rek'sai triggers. So I don't know that there's a reason to get the disc here. We know we're going to bring back our Phoenix this turn more than likely. Drawing some cards wouldn't be so bad, I think. So I think I'm going to try to draw some cards here. It does cost us power, and I don't like spending the power because we know we're gonna spend this, and then we're gonna spend another for the Phoenix, but I think, and the coal. But it is going to leave us on an even amount because we're going to do coal, and then we're going to spend the Phoenix, which will leave us on an even amount. So we're going to manage. And yeah, we'll just take the Poro. That's fine. Nothing to complain about there. And then we'll pull the coal off here. There's no reason to leave the bird on the battlefield. I guess we do go to an odd amount, actually, because of the bird trigger, but that's fine. So we'll force him to sack here. We'll summon the Phoenix back. Leave it in the backfield. And then we will... Yep, and that was free, so it was 2-1. Then we'll make a bird, why not? And we'll make the Conquer here. I guess before we make the bird, we make the Conquer. Go to 6. What do we pitch here is the question. So pitching the bird makes it so that all these cards are better than the bird here. And to be honest, we could just play this because we are on an odd amount. So I am going to actually pitch the bird here. Okay, that's something. I know I'm going to spend the power this turn anyways, so I'm going to play this and spin. And then we're just going to play one more Void Rush here. We'll tap. We'll go to an even number. We'll go to an even amount of runes. So we get... I don't want to burn the runes this turn, so I'm actually just going to add both of these to hand. This should be enough to win anyways. Yeah, that should be enough to win anyways, so... We're in a pretty solid position here. He needs another accelerator. Yep, so he's going to accelerate over us. We can live with this because of how good our hand is right now. And this is a really important card in this matchup, and I opt to play it over Darius because it's just so much cheaper. Darius is in the side right now, but I actually think this card is better just because of how much cheaper it is, and it provides provides a little less might, but I think it's just a little bit more efficient.
I accidentally spun back to Fury, but I'm gonna spin it back anyways. And
here's the Falling Star.
Units.
So not too bad for us. We do wish we had the Sun Disk now, but we'll be all right. So we do have a pretty good turn here to make 2 more guys. So it's just going to be... We could RNG the Void Rush, but I don't want to spend this much power, so we're going to just kill the Kaisa. We're going to play this. Then we're going to play this. Spin our 2 back. And we're looking pretty good. It forces him to have a Falling Star again, which he didn't call the 2 reds. So now he's just kind of stuck here and at the mercy of us. And this is where the tempo just kind of keeps riding forever. You just need to keep finding removal spells, and the Phoenixes will do the rest of the work for you. And you can kind of see the importance of the Sun Disk here. It would have been nice to have a Sun Disk, but it wasn't necessary. So the first thing we'll do is move here, see what trick he's going to use on us. It's sure. So is there something we could find accelerated? No, not really. So we'll come here again. We'll score. We'll take a look at what we got. We're not going to discard first because I really want to discard the Broker, but if I find the Sun Disk here, I'm not going to do that because I have the Broker in stack for game. None of these matter. None of these really matter. I could do this just to delete his guy, and then I would just need to find Sun Disk. I am actually going to do this because I just want to leave him with nothing. Like, there's no reason to leave him with anything. Just kind of... I'm spending my power, so I'll put 2 on my guy, 2 on his. I still have a line for lethal here. I do have to loot. I am going to loot the Blood Rush. I do want to keep a creature just in case I find the Sun Disk. I know one is on the bottom. And I am going to play... I'm going to play this and try to find the Sun Disk. And let's see what we got here. No Sun Disk, but we do have a play. So that's fine. Again, just keep stacking the backup here. And we'll stack this as well. And go. So pretty much, I mean, it's pretty hard for him to win here. He only is 8 up. There's not a whole lot of things he can do. He can, like, kind of keep treading water for a little bit. Yeah, so he can do this. He only has 1. He only gets to leave 2 at most if he sets something here. I am going to get to try the other side first and try to find pretty much anything that'll let me keep going. I really needed the Sun Disk last turn, unfortunately, but just couldn't find it. So we're going to move here. He's not going to react to this because there's just no reason to, so I'll take my draw first, and then I'll trigger Rek'sai so I can make decisions with information. God. Again, I can just try to stack the back as deep as possible. Although, based on what's in my hand, I don't think I want either of these, so... Alright, so let's send both these guys in and see if we can get the... Just try to go for it here. Yep, this will go back to hand, and we'll try to win the game. And that should be it. So we'll double pump here, run it over, and conquer for game. If he could have set here and had the Rebuke and stopped me. I would just develop the Forerunner here and just kind of try again next turn. You can see kind of too where the Sun Disk would have made this game a little less aggravating for me. I did have everything going for me, and I still had a point lead. But as you can see, Draven still has a massive hand despite all that. I did make him spend a lot of power. This is also why you can see that using the guns there was important, because had I left him with the Overzealous Fan, he could actually put that in there with Kaisa and made my life a little harder. So it's important to be cleaning up when you can. It was also a free card off the Rek'sai. I'm kind of flush with advantage, so I can even make a wide board if I want to. So you kind of got an experience firsthand, and he didn't really draw bad by all that means. It's just the tempo. I just always had a removal spell, always bringing back the Phoenixes, just leading with a lot of tempo. You can use this Reaver's Row to your advantage, especially when you go first, like you saw here where I was able to just go capture. I didn't find anything I liked, so then I play Rek'sai and just accelerate to the other side. Or maybe I find a Sun Disk, I make the Sun Disk, and I use the Sun Disk to tap and send a 2-drop to the other side, and kind of just score to 2. He has to decide if he wants to trade or go over Reaver's Row and force me back. He develops a Draven. If he makes the trade, then what happens is he's left with the Draven exposed in the back to either a Falling Star or Cole. If he doesn't make the trade, I get to score 4 and double retreat my guys. And now I'm in a great position too, because if he wants to move something up next turn, the Piercing Light can clip both the Draven and the 2. So you kind of see how these lines work out in the early game. This deck is very set up to kind of take on Draven with all its removal and the way it's positioned.
Challenger TCG now has a Metafy. If you would like to support our content so we can continue doing what we are doing, then please consider subscribing to any of our Metafy tiers. Not only will you be supporting more content like this, but you will also gain access to our community Discord where we do live streams, Riftbound product giveaways, host VODs of our competitive testing sessions, and offer one-on-one coaching sessions. The members of our team are seasoned veterans of the competitive TCG world and have seen multiple successes across a variety of games. We also have written deck guide content available for free right now, and will be providing additional guides at no cost in the future. So check us out, even if you can't subscribe if you are looking for high-quality competitive content.